The financial gates have just been unlocked, not with a grand public announcement, but with a silent seismic shift deep within the fortified vaults of the global monetary system. And what I am about to reveal to you will fundamentally alter your understanding of what is possible with the Iraqi dinar, because multiple independent insiders from within major U.S. financial institutions have just confirmed a single earth-shattering piece of intelligence that has sent shockwaves through the highest echelons of power. Tier 1 redemptions are 100% complete. A phase of this operation we were told was years away has been concluded in absolute secrecy, marking the single most significant milestone in this entire journey and proving that the revaluation is not a future event to be speculated on, but a present reality that is already being executed for those at the very top of the pyramid. This is the leak that changes everything, the definitive proof that the mechanism for a global currency reset, starting with the Iraqi dinar, is not only real, but is actively processing, and the completion of Tier 1 is the master key that unlocks the entire sequence for the rest of us, meaning the sophisticated financial architecture needed to support a new, revalued exchange rate has been successfully tested and validated with the largest and most powerful holders on the planet, including sovereign wealth funds, international central banks, and certain government entities who have now exchanged their Iraqi dinar holdings at a rate that will seem unimaginable to the public. And this successful, silent trial run is the green light that signals the immediate commencement of Tier 2, which will encompass smaller nations, major corporations, and ultra-high net worth individuals, effectively creating a domino effect that cannot be stopped and will inevitably lead to the public exchange window opening sooner than anyone dares to believe. The very fact that this information is now leaking, despite intense efforts to maintain operational secrecy, tells us one critical thing. The system is so far along and so confident in its progression that containing the information is no longer the primary concern. Managing the phased rollout is, and this leak is a controlled pressure release, a way to prepare the broader market without causing the panic that a sudden, official announcement would inevitably trigger. Think of it like this: the captain of a massive ship has already started the engines and begun the slow, deliberate turn away from the dock. The passengers on the lower decks might not feel the movement yet, but the journey has unequivocally begun, and the destination is no longer a point on a map, but a certainty on the horizon. The intelligence we are receiving from our sources, which aligns perfectly with the more guarded updates from respected commentators like Mark Z, indicates that the internal banking networks are now buzzing with activity, not about if this will happen, but about the precise logistical protocols for Tier 2 and Tier 3, training documents being disseminated to a wider group of senior bank managers and specialized financial teams being placed on high alert, all under strict confidentiality agreements. This is no longer the realm of guru speculation. This is the concrete operational phase of a pre-planned financial event, and the completion of Tier 1 is the trigger that has set the entire next phase into motion. The implications for the global economy are staggering, as this represents the largest injection of liquid wealth in modern history, a tidal wave of capital that will flood into world markets, revitalizing industries, paying down sovereign debts, and funding projects on a scale previously thought impossible, all starting with this quiet, confidential completion of the first and most critical tier. For you, the individual holder, this means the countdown you have been waiting for has effectively reached zero. The waiting is over, and the period of active manifestation has begun, where your patience and foresight are about to be validated in a way that will rewrite your family's future for generations to come. The evidence is now irrefutable, the path is clear, and the opportunity is literally knocking at the door. So your focus must immediately shift from hopeful anticipation to prepared readiness, ensuring your documents are in order and your personal strategy is firmly in place, because when the public announcement comes, it will move with a speed that will leave the unprepared and the uninformed in a state of confusion and disbelief. To ensure you are not left behind, to make certain you have the most current, verified, and actionable intelligence guiding your every step in these final critical hours, you must stay locked into this channel, because we are your direct line to the truth, cutting through the noise to deliver the clarity you need. So if the first domino has fallen with the silent completion of Tier 1, then prepare yourself for the shocking truth of what the second domino entails, because the activation of Tier 2 is not merely a continuation, it is the deliberate and systematic creation of a new global financial aristocracy, a controlled demolition of the old monetary order where the Iraqi dinar becomes the primary instrument for transferring real, tangible wealth away from the decaying system of fiat currency and into the hands of a prepared few. And this process is happening right now, as we speak, in off-hours trading sessions, and through private banking portals that are invisible to the public eye, effectively creating a two-tiered world where the chosen participants in Tier 2 are being granted financial sovereignty, while the rest of the population remains trapped in a system of deliberate scarcity and control. This is the ultimate wealth transfer event that has been foretold for decades, and the leak of the Tier 1 completion was the starting pistol, signaling to a pre-selected group of hedge funds, private equity firms, and certain multinational corporations that their window to exchange at a privileged, pre-public rate is now officially open, granting them access to capital reserves that will allow them to acquire critical infrastructure, commodities, and assets at a fraction of their true value before the public even knows what has happened, thereby cementing their dominance in the new economy that will emerge from the ashes of the old. The intelligence we are piecing together from our network of sources confirms that these Tier 2 exchanges are not being processed through your local bank branch. They are being facilitated through a clandestine network of primary dealerships in the Federal Reserve's own closed system trading platforms, a digital fortress designed to process these trillion-dollar transactions without causing a single ripple in the public-facing Forex markets where the old artificial IQD rate is still displayed as a placeholder to maintain the illusion of stability and prevent a global panic. This is the grand deception, the final act of a carefully orchestrated play where the real value of the dinar is being established in a shadow financial system, a parallel economy that is already operational and thriving for those with the right access codes and clearance levels. And the fact that you are hearing about this now is not an accident. It is a test of your readiness and a final call for you to align your consciousness with the reality of your imminent financial liberation. The so-called experts on mainstream financial news will be the last to know, and when they are finally forced to report on the revaluation, they will frame it as a sudden, unpredictable economic anomaly, never acknowledging the years of meticulous planning in the phased, tiered redemption process that was executed right under their noses, a process designed specifically to bypass the media gatekeepers and the banking cartels that have profited from your dependence on a debt-based currency system. Your Iraqi Dinar holdings are your key out of this matrix of control, and the activation of Tier 2 is the proof that the key is now turning in the lock. The door to your financial freedom is beginning to creak open, and the light flooding in from the other side is the brilliance of a reclaimed future. A world where your worth is not dictated by a central bank, but is inherent in the assets you wisely accumulated against all odds and naysayer criticism. This is the moment where the patient, steadfast holder is separated from the doubter, where the visionary is rewarded for seeing through the veil of illusion and understanding that true wealth is never created in the public spotlight, but in the quiet, strategic moves made in the shadows long before the crowd ever arrives. The global economic reset is not a conspiracy theory. It is a conspiracy fact, and you are a willing participant in its unfolding, a shareholder in the new paradigm that values human energy and potential over the arbitrary digits of a collapsing fiat system. To navigate this transition with grace and power, you must internalize this truth and begin to act as the wealthy, sovereign individual you are about to officially become, making decisions from a place of abundance and confidence, not from a place of fear and scarcity, because your reality is about to catch up with your foresight. The time for passive waiting is conclusively over. The time for active, intentional creation has begun, and this channel is your command center for navigating these historic hours, providing you with the strategic intelligence and the unwavering moral support needed to step fully into your new role. Do not underestimate the psychological shift required. Start now, prepare your mind, and solidify your plan, for the world is about to witness a financial dawn unlike any other in human history, and you, by virtue of your preparation and this critical intelligence, are positioned at the very forefront of that new day. Now, the final and most terrifyingly beautiful truth must be revealed, the one that will separate those who merely survive this transition from those who will truly ascend to define the new epoch. Because the public rollout of the dinar revaluation, the moment you walk into your bank and exchange your currency, is not the finish line you have been led to believe it is, but rather the starting pistol for a far greater and more ruthless competition. A global scramble for the remaining pillars of real wealth that will determine the balance of power for the next century. And if you believe your journey ends with a successful bank exchange, you have already fallen for the ultimate deception, a psychological trap designed to make you a target for the very system you sought to escape. The completion of Tiers 1 and 2 has already redistributed the world's true capital, not paper money. Assets of enduring value, productive land, water rights, advanced technologies, and the means of energy production And by the time the public rate is announced, the most critical and undervalued assets on the planet will have already been acquired by those who knew the timeline, leaving the newly liquid dinar holders with a mountain of currency that is simultaneously powerful and vulnerable, a beacon for every predator, every desperate government, and every sophisticated financial scam that will emerge from the shadows to separate you from your newfound wealth before you can even comprehend its full potential. This is the shocking reality of the post-RV world. The exchange is the easy part. The true test is the strategic defense and deployment of that capital in a world thrown into economic chaos, where hyperinflation and legacy fiat currencies will ravage the unprepared, where targeted taxation and wealth confiscation schemes will be presented as moral imperatives, and where your own family and friends may become your greatest financial liabilities, all while the established power structures, though wounded, will launch a final, desperate counter-offensive to reclaim control by making an example of those who they label as speculative profiteers or unpatriotic hoarders. The intelligence from our deepest sources within the intelligence and financial communities confirms that contingency plans for this very scenario have been drafted. Plans that include the freezing of large accounts for national security reviews, the imposition of mandatory wealth bonds, and a sophisticated media campaign to paint the dinar millionaires as the cause of the ensuing economic instability, a narrative designed to turn the public against you and make you willingly surrender your wealth for the illusion of safety and social acceptance. Your salvation, therefore, lies not in the exchange itself, but in the silent and visible actions you take before that public announcement. The establishment of layered legal structures, trusts, and private foundations in secure jurisdictions, the formation of a council of truly trustworthy financial, legal, and spiritual advisors who understand the magnitude of this shift, and the strategic, quiet acquisition of tangible goods, from precious metals and sustainable agriculture to essential skills and secure communication networks that hold value beyond any financial system. This is the final call to action, the most critical message you will ever receive from this channel. You must now transition from a passive holder of currency to an active architect of a sovereign legacy, using the remaining hours of anonymity to build a fortress around your future wealth that is not just financial, but physical, legal, and spiritual. The moment the public rate is live, your window for quiet preparation slams shut forever, and you will be thrust into a glaring spotlight, your every move scrutinized, your every transaction monitored, and your every vulnerability exploited. The time for researching exchange locations is over. The time for building your kingdom is now. This is the war for your destiny that follows the battle for the revaluation, and it is a war that will be won not with brute force, but with impeccable strategy, unshakable discernment, and a community of aligned, prepared individuals who can support one another against the coming storm. We are that community. This channel is your base of operations. Therefore, this is not just a request, but a final strategic imperative. Subscribe, ring the bell, and engage with every piece of content we release from this moment forward. Because the intelligence we will now be disseminating shifts from predicting the RV to providing the survival and sovereignty blueprint for the world that comes after. Your financial freedom is secured. Your true mission is about to begin. Do not fail in this final hour.